The migration economy across Europe and the United Kingdom is not a theory. It is a measurable, structured, publicly funded system. If you strip away politics and focus only on money, contracts and delivery, what you see is a 15 to 30 billion euro per year ecosystem. And that number is not coming from one place. It is built from three major funding engines. First, the United Kingdom. The Home Office is currently spending roughly £4 to £5 billion per year on asylum, accommodation and operational support. Within that, the largest component is accommodation. The National Audit Office confirms that the core asylum accommodation contracts delivered by Serco Mears Group and Clear Springs Ready Homes have grown from an original £4.5 billion estimate to £15.3 billion over 10 years. That is not inflation. That is structural expansion. And within that system, hotels dominate. Roughly 76% of costs are now driven by hotel accommodation, despite housing only about a third of individuals. The suppliers themselves reported approximately £383 million in profit between 2019 and 2024, with margins around 7%. So in the UK, the model is clear. Government funding, outsourced housing, stable contractor revenue. Now move to Europe. At EU level, the European Commission has allocated approximately €22.7 billion for migration and border management between 2021 and 2027. That equates to roughly €3 to €4 billion per year at EU level alone. But this is where the model changes. Instead of beds, Europe spends heavily on systems. Agencies like EULISA and Frontex drive procurement for biometric identification systems, visa and asylum databases, border surveillance infrastructure, interoperability platforms across member states. Between 2014 and 2020 alone, these agencies spent approximately €1.9 billion on private sector contracts. The key beneficiaries are not charities. They are technology and defence-linked firms such as IDEMIA, Soprasteria, Atos, Airbus, Leonardo. These contracts are not one-off. They require continuous upgrades, maintenance and integration, which creates long-term revenue streams, often with limited competition once systems are embedded. That is where the durability of the system sits. Now, the NGO layer. This is where most public perception is focused. Financially, it is smaller. Organisations like European Council on Refugees and Exiles operate on budgets in the range of €1 to €2 million per year, funded by EU grants, philanthropic foundations, membership fees. Across Europe and the UK, the total NGO ecosystem linked to migration is estimated at €1.5 to €4 billion per year. That includes legal aid, integration support, safeguarding, advocacy, research and reporting. Even in the UK, a major national contract like Migrant Help is worth £235 million over 10 years. Significant but still small compared to multi-billion-pound accommodation contracts. So NGOs are part of the system, but they are not the primary financial winners. If you step back, the entire ecosystem can be understood through three economic zones. First, beds. This is the UK model. Accommodation, hotels, logistics, high cost, high visibility, politically sensitive. Second, Bytes. This is the EU model. Databases, biometrics, identity systems, lower visibility, higher long-term value. Third, borders. Surveillance, returns, operational control. Driven by security policy and geopolitical pressure. And this leads to the key structural insight. This is not a system where money is paid per migrant. It is a system where money is paid to manage, scale, compliance, legal complexity, operational logistics. The more complex the system becomes, the more infrastructure is required. The more infrastructure, the more contracts. The more contracts, the more institutional stability for those inside the system. So what you end up with is not a conspiracy. You end up with a self-reinforcing economic sector. Governments fund it, companies operate it, NGOs support and influence it, and all three layers derive relevance from the same thing, the persistence of migration as a structural issue. The final point is this. If you want to understand where the real power and money sit, you do not start with headlines. You look at contracts, and when you do, one thing becomes clear. The migration economy is not built around people. It is built around the systems required to process, house, track and manage them. And those systems, once created, tend to stay, long after the headlines move on.